Hello, critical thinkers. This video is about the family of Messiah Nantwi. Messiah Nantwi was a 22-year-old incarcerated individual at Mid-State Correctional Facility who was beaten to death in front of the National Guard by members of the CERT team. His family wants answers. This article is from the Gothamist. Family of man who died in New York prison speaks out as AG finds probable cause of a crime. The family of Messiah Nantwi, 22, demanded answers Friday after the New York Attorney General's office said there were reasonable grounds to believe up to 9 correction officers caused or contributed to Nantwi's death at an upstate prison last week amid an illegal strike. I've been lost for words. I've gone through every emotion you can think of, Nantwi's aunt, Myrene Lopez, told reporters in Harlem, where he lived before being imprisoned last year on a weapons conviction. And I'm angry. I'm beyond angry. The family's comments came a day after State Attorney General Letitia James' office announced it was recusing itself from the investigation into Nantwi's death due to internal conflicts with some state attorneys. But the AG's office said it found reason enough to pursue a criminal investigation based on a preliminary review. So, what we do know is that the office of Letitia James has represented numerous correction officers who have been accused of beating formerly incarcerated individuals. Letitia James had to recuse herself from the investigation of the beating death of Robert Brooks. So this was no surprise to us who have been following this case. Quote, there is probable cause to believe that as many as 9 correction officers caused the death of Messiah Nantwi or committed acts that contributed thereto and thereby committed a crime, James' office wrote in a filing in Onondaga County Supreme Court this week. The New York Times reported Nantwi was beaten unconscious by multiple correction officers at the Mid-State Correctional Facility in Marcy shortly before he died. The ongoing strike is illegal under state law and has not been condoned by the correction officers union. But officers say they are being endangered by state policies meant to govern solitary confinement. James's office said its recusal was due to a routine internal check that found that several of the officers allegedly involved in the incident were represented by state attorneys in other matters. A judge approved the AG's request for William Fitzpatrick, the Onondaga County District Attorney, to serve as a special prosecutor in the case. The Fitzpatrick prosecution has been a farce. So far, 10 individuals were indicted. One individual was charged with a tampering crime. He was ROR'd, and then the other individuals, 9 correction officers, all released on bail, extremely low bail. 5 of those officers had a murder 2 charge, and initially Fitzpatrick was requesting a $50,000 bail, which is absolutely disgusting for a murder 2 charge. So, will we get justice when it comes to Messiah Nantwi? Will we get justice when it comes to Robert Brooks? We will see. The next court date for those involved in the Robert Brooks murder is March 31st. But let's go back to the article. A spokesperson for the AG declined to comment on Friday and referred Gothamist to Fitzpatrick's office, which also declined to comment. The state correction department and the union that represents the striking officers also did not respond to requests for comment. That's really not a shocker. Here we see a picture. Lisbeth Gomez, Messiah Nantwi's cousin, holds a picture of him as a baby in Harlem on March 7th, 2025. Governor Kathy Hochul said this week she had directed state correction officials to put 15 prison staffers on leave in connection with Nantwi's death, calling early reports about the incident extremely disturbing. She also urged thousands of striking correction officers statewide to return to work to end what she described as a significant safety risk. So this article was done before the final deadline. We know that 2,000 striking officers were terminated for not going back to work. Her administration on Thursday said it had circumvented the union to offer the workers a deal meant to resolve the Wildcat strike, which they say they have been waging since February 17th because of unsafe conditions in state prisons. State employees are not allowed to strike under New York's Taylor law, rendering the workers' actions illegal. At least 7 incarcerated people have died in the prisons during the strike, according to the Correctional Association of New York, an independent organization designated by state law to monitor prisons. Nantwi's official cause of death has not been released. State Assembly member Eddie Gibbs on Friday said he had traveled to the Mid-State Correctional Facility after Nantwi's death to speak with other prisoners who lived in the dorm. Quote, the morale is fearful, very low and untrusting, Gibbs said at a press conference in Harlem alongside advocates from criminal justice reform groups. He added that his office had received more than 3,000 letters detailing abuse in state prisons and that Nantwi's body was being kept at a funeral home in Utica near Marcy. Just a side note, I'm not the biggest fan of Eddie Gibbs. I'm not the biggest fan of comments that he's made in reference to Daniel Marchicello the third. He said he was doing a good job in the Department of Corrections. He said Kathy Hochul has been doing a good job as it relates to corrections. So, I mean, that for me are comments that do not make any sense. I don't think Daniel Marchicello is doing a great job. So I don't know why he's making those comments. So it's very suspect for me. But that's another story. Back to the article. Nantwi was serving 5 years at the prison for criminal weapons possession and was awaiting trial on 2 separate New York City homicide cases from 2023, according to court records and his attorney. In 2021, he had engaged in a shootout with NYPD officers who were trying to arrest him for allegedly spraying graffiti in the Bronx and was shot more than 20 times. He was indicted for attempted murder but recovered from his injuries and was bailed out by family and friends after the judge in that case set bail over the objections of the Bronx district attorney. Lopez, Nantwi's aunt, on Friday spoke of an artistic and athletic man whose dreams were tarnished as he grew up. She expressed condolences to the families of the 2 men he was accused of killing and acknowledged his actions were devastating. It was never ever supposed to end that way. That's not what I wanted for Messiah, she said. Please find it within your hearts to forgive him because that was no longer Messiah. That is the end of the article. If you found value in this video, please consider becoming a member. Joining is less than the cost of a Starbucks cup of coffee. It financially supports the channel and helps with the work that we do. If not, no worries. If you've appreciated the video, you can like the video, you can comment below, you can share the video. And if you feel that I've earned it, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. My goal is to give you honest and direct feedback and go deeper than what the mainstream media is telling and sharing with you. Take care, God bless, and see you next time.